Broadcasting from under the specter of Mount Benson, welcome to the 172nd episode of the show on Shaw and our first episode of 2021. Thanks for joining us for 1 hour of Central Vancouver Island guests, stories, happenings, and much, much more. Our musical guest for this episode is Ira Pelletier. Not only a great musician, as you'll hear from the two songs we've got from him, but he's also running a very cool video blog series detailing some of the creative aspects of life here on Vancouver Island. Also on the show, we've got an update on the Nanaimo and District Hospital Foundation's campaign on a new intensive care unit at NRGH. Now, from that heart-saving story, we have a heart-warming story about a Syrian refugee who moved to Canada 5 years ago. We'll hear about his experiences leaving his home country and growing up now in Canada. We'll also talk gardening because, well, on Vancouver Island, you can talk about gardening in February. So to my friends and family in Ontario and Alberta, I strictly have to say, yeah. Okay, also, we're going to finish off the program. Well, we usually finish off the program by saying happy trails, but today we're going to start the program by saying happy trails, meeting a pair of trailblazers with this new trail running program that helps you get outside and get active at this time of the year. Well, call me nuts, but I love a good trail mix of stories for you on the show on Shaw.
Hi, a big hello to everyone. I am very, very happy to introduce two wonderful people to you today, Lisa Wylie and Joshua Heath. They were part of a wonderful event last year called the Van Isle 460. And myself, as an employee of the Vancouver Island Crisis Society, I had the opportunity to greet them after they brought a very generous check to the Crisis Society office as a presentation of the results of all the fundraising they did through that event. And now they've got much more news to share with us about other series of running that are taking place, and as well a charitable organization they've begun as well. So Joshua and Lisa, please feel free to share.
Thanks, Joanne. I guess start with how we met you and the Van Isle 460. Traditionally, as work, I'm a race director for the Vancouver Island Trail Running Series. Mm-hmm. And with COVID, that was canceled last year. And so Joshua and I teamed together to come up with the event, the Van Isle 460, which had people running the length and width of Vancouver Island. And we wanted a charity to partner with. Close to my heart was the Vancouver Island Crisis Society. Mm-hmm. And also because of the stress because of COVID on their resources. I wanted to be able to donate to your organization. And so that's how Van Isle came about. And afterwards, we really started, I think we sat down and really started thinking about what more we could do. And so.
And you'd already done so much already to help increase the support on the crisis lines and chat and text for our Vancouver Island communities. So I'm interested in finding out what exactly kind of fundraising events you're planning on Vancouver Island and where and when these will take place.
Well, we have coming at the beginning of March, we have an event in Nanaimo. And my understanding is this is mostly for the Nanaimo audience. Yes, so.
Sometimes it gets broadcast in other areas of the island as well.
Well, excellent. We have the Ferry Trails Adventure Series starting. It's actually happening right now in the Cowichan area. We're just a week into it, and it runs for the month of February and here in the Cowichan, and then in March it's going to run in the Nanaimo area and the Victoria area. And it's, maybe Lisa wants to tell you a little bit more about what that is.
Okay, so
it's her big idea, so she should talk about it.
It sounds like there's a series of runs occurring in each area. Is that correct?
That's correct. So each area has 4 different runs, and we've created maps for each run and hidden caches out in the woods, little boxes.
Oh, wow.
And they're more like hikes too. They're not actually just runs.
Yeah, it's not just rental hiking. Yeah.
Yeah, and kids, families as well.
Yeah. So it's the idea to get people out into nature. This time of year, it's a little harder to get out. So to have a motivation to get out and take part in a fun event where they can go and find these little caches. And once they've collected stickers from all 4 or stamps, just depends on which one they're doing, at the end, there's a finisher prize. And yeah, they get to say that they get to find 4 new trails in their area and get out with their family and raise money. And so this time we're raising money for the nonprofit which we founded this past winter, which is called the Society for Elevating Humanity.
And I'd like to get back more a little bit later about some of the running trails, etc. But can you tell me more about your charitable organization now, please?
Well, yes. So after endless conversations about what we could do to team up together and create, bring all the ideas that we have together to actually make a difference, and starting here on the island, we came up with we founded this organization called Society for Elevating Humanity. And what the mission of the organization is to provide direct funding to people to be able to do counseling. So it's kind of like, and it's specifically like to see a counselor and to see maybe some alternative therapies as well. So to go beyond what to pick up where the Crisis Society might leave off for somebody, but also like to offer funding to people that is not available through the medical system or even through often through benefits.
So am I correct in understanding that people would apply for funding so that they could go and seek counseling on their own? Is that how it would work, or?
Essentially, yes. What we have so far, what we've developed is 4 hub counselors. So it's 4 therapists that we're working with. Mm-hmm. And we are funding, at the moment, we're just funding 1 client. We just have just really starting new. And the idea is that the client will work with their hub counselor, and that counselor will stay with them throughout their therapy process, but we'll bring in other practitioners to help along the way
as needed. They will create a plan for their therapy that may include alternative or complementary therapies.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. I'm just curious. At this point, I would imagine that any counseling sessions that take place would be in a virtual environment. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, it's all Zoom counseling. Yes.
Yes. And so so when you mentioned that you have 4 hub counselors, they are described as hub because they can be the starting point for other types of counseling for the person who has become the client.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It's not geographically based. It's not like,
That's right.
It's a service-based hub.
That's right.
Situation.
Exactly.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's really interesting. And how would people go about finding out more about this?
Currently, we are working on a website. It's not live yet, but we do have a Facebook page, which is Elevating Humanity. Oh, no, sorry, that's too. Yeah, we do. We do have a Facebook page and an Instagram page as well.
Okay, so we'll share that on the screen, as well as your names and contact information.
Yes.
And to get back to the runs themselves, so if I'm an advanced runner, which I'm not, but say I'm an advanced runner, I could go and perhaps tackle the 4 trails in my area on the same day, and that would be fine too, or?
Absolutely.
Or there's prescribed dates for each trail?
No. Go ahead.
Sure. So the trail, you have a month to complete all 4 trails.
Okay.
Do them in any order and any pace. You could do them all in one weekend, or you could take the whole month and do one every weekend. Or
okay. And of course, sorry.
I said you could do them anytime. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, and of course, we will provide the information on how folks can go about registering for this as well on screen. And have you folks participated in the events you create? Did you folks run the 460 or the 100 kilometer version last year? Or?
Yes. Yeah, we both ran the 460 last year.
Oh, very courageous.
We were both on the last day, cramming in 20 kilometers to get finished.
And the same thing, you've personally gone through all the trails and all the regions to set this up as well. So while you're working to help people, you're also maintaining your fitness levels, pandemic or no, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And our own mental health. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you can you give us an idea of, I know it's all on the website for registration, but can you give us an idea of which months and which communities are going to be offering these trail runs?
So it's still, somebody in the Cowichan region could still register. It's already started, and it's running for the rest of this month of February. And then in the Nanaimo and Victoria regions are starting in March. So we're going to go from March 1st till the end of March.
Okay. Well, I think that's a wonderful thing, especially as spring is, fingers crossed, getting nearer and nearer to us to take part in this. And I wish you every success with your event, your fundraising event, and with the start of this new organization. I think it's going to really be a great benefit to a number of people throughout Vancouver, or just don't know exactly how to begin looking for that kind of support. So thank you for being such great community members of Vancouver Island.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to interview us and getting the word out. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
We are very proud to be part of the campaign for a new ICU on the grounds of the Nanaimo Regional General Hospital. And our foundation has agreed to raise $5 million towards all of the medical equipment that will be used in the building. It's an exciting campaign. It's the largest campaign that we've ever done, but the need has never been greater.
NRGH needs a new ICU. We only have 9 to 10 beds ICU capacity here. I think this ICU right now is more than 50 years old.
I'm Dr. Michael Kenyon. I'm the head of the unit, or have been most of the time since about 2003. We really could do with a change in the physical plant. Our place is so cluttered, it's so hard to get around. We have warning notices from the fire marshal on a regular basis about the clutter in the back hall. We have issues with privacy, we have issues with infection control, all related to the cramped conditions.
We provide really, really good care in our ICU right now. We've got an exceptional team, exceptional physicians. However, if we actually put them into an environment that's state-of-the-art with current standards, they're going to be able to provide even better care.
This ICU has the worst physical plant by far, is the words they use, of any ICU that they have seen in Canada.
We might have the worst physical layout ICU, but I think we have the best ICU nurses. We have the best team here in Canada for our ICU. Every time we overflow, we have to go literally across the hospital and up one floor. We can hardly fit the equipment in an elevator. We certainly can't take them up the stairs. And there are numerous obstacles along the way.
We are seeing patients from all over Central and North Island. We are a tertiary care site, so we're having our sickest patients come to us for care, and we need the right kind of environment to be able to support not only our patients, but the families that come here as well. You know, when we're looking at Nanaimo having a competitive edge to get the best possible intensivists and physicians do look at physical environment, and so do nurses. You know, they want to be able to work in an environment that supports them being able to provide the best possible care.
We're looking to provide excellent care in a much better space.
This ICU department must be updated. It has to be expanded, and we're going to make sure that it's done with the very best medical equipment that we can offer to the staff here who take care of the most sick and the most in need.
Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the show. We just saw an amazing, incredible video showing the incredible staff at the ICU department at Nanaimo Regional General Hospital. And they're just fantastic. They're so dedicated, as you can see, doing very important work. And I'm very, very happy to present my next guest here with us today. She's Janice Perrino, CEO of the Nanaimo and District Hospital Foundation. Welcome, Janice.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much for having me. And I really appreciate that Shaw is doing this for us.
Oh, well, we're just so amazed at what's happened with your foundation, and we're going to talk about all the successes soon. But let's just first touch on the ICU. We will talk about what you do and your services to the community, but because we just saw the ICU video, let's just chat about that, because that's a really important project, and we want to make sure that the community can get behind it.
Well, the ICU was actually built 50 years ago. And so, as you can imagine, the technology was not there. And we actually had a report done in 2013 that stated that the physical facility of our ICU is probably one of the worst in Canada. And yet the care that they provide by the nurses and the doctors and the technicians is the very best. So we know we're doing everything right. The problem is the area is just way too small, very tight, and not nearly large enough for a region of our size. So we're building a new ICU. It started construction actually on Monday, which was very exciting.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much.
Yeah, and so it's just started. It's just started. And you must be very excited about this. Yeah?
You know, I feel like we have, actually the Minister of Health, Adrian Dix, came in 2018 and said, you're going to get your new ICU. And between, the design and the setup and then the COVID, we had to stall everything. And so just starting it on Monday was the first real move forward. And so we are very excited. And this is going to be a large build. It's going to take a couple of years. So it's finally on the way.
Well, as we all know, there's still some additional fundraising to be done for the ICU. It's so important for individuals and workplaces and corporations in our community to get behind it because, and it's not just in Nanaimo that you serve. You're helping the Parksville region and Qualicum regions as well with your foundation. So maybe you could talk about how you serve our region, our area. Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking. We actually serve the region from Ladysmith right on up to the north tip of the island for the ICU. And of course, anyone who might be in the area that's not living here, if they happen to need our ICU, we're there for them. So, this building, it's about $40 million to build. And we have said that we will pay $5 million to cover the cost of the equipment in the new facility. So we've been fundraising now for well over a year, going at it hard, and to date we have raised $4.1 million. So Kerilie, we still have to raise $900,000. So that's why this program today is so important to me, because we're hoping that you can help to get that message out there. We have to raise that $900,000 for that medical equipment, because we're going to be having all of the equipment there on that opening day, and there's this is not a time to fail, and we never will.
We have to make this happen, Janice. I'm really, really wanting it to happen. As so many of us are wanting to see improvements in Nanaimo, and especially during right now when hospitals are so at the max with COVID-19 around Canada, around our nation. We have to get behind the hospital and give our hospital the equipment and the space that they need so that they can accommodate the problem of COVID-19 and so that they can be prepared for whatever may happen. So, we really need to get behind this. And I'm encouraging individuals to pledge and to get their friends to pledge, and workplaces to get some things happening with fundraising, and also, of course, corporations. So what's the best way people can give, Janice? What's the best way?
Oh, I love this question. Well, obviously, we have a website. People can donate online. They can call us at our office, and I'll give you the telephone number so you've got that. But actually, it's amazing how companies have come together. Companies like Coastland Wood, it's been incredible to see how they're doing matching programs with their employees. And Windsor Plywood, the Windsor Plywood Foundation gave us $1 million towards this project. So you can really see the community is coming on side. So many individuals, and it's every donation, really from the very smallest to the largest gifts, that they come together and they make that total happen before you know it. So people can call us at any time, but our website is very easy to navigate and make a gift when they're ready. So I mean, people can even come here to the hospital to make donations, and we have that quite regularly.
Wonderful. And we'll be showing that information on the screen. So that's great. And people can get that information there and donate. And I encourage everyone to do that. But Janice, we don't have all that much time left, but I really want to talk about your success with the endoscopy project and the cardiac project. Those are amazing projects affecting my family directly. My mother's been a cardiac patient. I'm so happy about the improvements. Can you talk about all the money you've raised in your success? You're amazing.
Well, thank you. We've been trying to do a lot of things to bring this hospital up to where it needs to be, and we're nowhere near done. We have to keep going. But that cardiac that you talked about, Kerilie, is just so important because the clinic was very small and didn't have nearly enough equipment, and certainly not new equipment. So we bought around $800,000 worth of equipment, new ultrasound machines for testing, and we expanded the size of the clinic. And then we put a clinic over in the Oceanside Health Center so that people who live in that area can go right there. And we bought a machine for them too, so it's all easy. The endoscopy suite is for people who need colonoscopies, and we have a long wait list. So we built a whole new surgical suite. And with the help of the Regional Hospital District, we've done that one and raised close to $2 million for that so that we can increase by about 3,500 colonoscopies a year. So people who have colon cancer can get diagnosed much faster and hopefully get a good quality of life from the care they receive sooner. The earlier diagnosed, the better the outcome. So we've got a long ways to go, but we'll get there, one project at a time.
Well, Janice, I want to congratulate you and your team for your amazing work at your foundation. It's just amazing. And I also want to thank all the people in healthcare doing such hard work right now due to COVID-19, but just with the regular services that they provide. We want to thank all our health professionals and all the doctors and nurses and volunteers and your team. And we hope that the community will get behind this and support you as much as they can. Thank you for joining us today, Janice. It's been awesome talking to you.
It's a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you to all of your team and what you do for our communities. Keep up the great work.
Thanks again, Janice, for joining us.
Thank you.
wish I could be everything you need.
are tuned in to the show on Shaw. Thank you so much for joining us here. And you just heard our musical guest, Ira Pelletier, performing track Wild and Free. Now, I say musical guest doesn't really quite encompass all of the pursuits that Ira's involved with, also music, but also visual arts and athletic pursuits as well. And he's packaging it all together as part of a new video series we're very excited to hear about here today. So to find out more, we've contacted him from his home in the heroic hills of Ladysmith, British Columbia. Ira Pelletier, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Yeah, really great to chat with you. And I always like to ask people, we're about 1 year into the pandemic where our lives have sort of been like a pair of old shoes thrown into the dryer and tossed about. How are you keeping right now through this crazy year?
Decently. Just spending lots of time with my kids and my partner and just keep trucking along.
Yeah, that's all we can do. Yeah, but I know you've been keeping yourself very busy with many pursuits, which I'm very happy to talk about here. First, though, as it is the musical interview, let's talk a little bit about your music. I read a magazine article about you that described you as a mandolin freak. Is this still the case?
It's somewhat the case. Yeah, I don't play as much mandolin as I used to. I'm more interested in playing the guitar these days. But I still pick it up and play fiddle tunes once in a while.
I was going to say, yeah, because you've been involved with a lot of different bands, Skagway, Hub City Ramblers, one of the best band names of all time, playing a lot in the bluegrass genre. So what is it about that style of music that really has drawn you in?
I think it's the precision of the instruments and the amount of work that it takes to get to be proficient in that particular genre, and as well as the drive of it. It's always pushing forward. I don't play a lot of bluegrass these days, though. It's just not been. I've been exploring different musical ideas and sort of changing my pursuits as I do with everything else in my life.
Well, it's a bit of a juggle for you here with all the different pursuits, but really cool through your video series. So this new video series you've created, you talk about basically sharing the things that you're passionate about with regards to your life on Vancouver Island. So why has it been important to you to share this life through video?
For me, the creation of a video is very artistic kind of piece. For me, the video, I'm a teacher in my day job, and so when the pandemic started, that was kind of my only way of connecting with my students, and I realized how much I really liked playing with video and audio and sort of creating, showcasing some of the things that I do. And I was able to, I really felt like I was really finding something that spoke to me and that I could speak with. And then when we went back to work, I didn't want to stop. So I started my own YouTube channel. And because I do things like carving and leather work, I like to skateboard and ride my bike and all those things. And making videos was a really cool way to sort of package it all together and put all my pursuits into one place that I could share with people.
Very cool. All right, and let's take a second now actually to take a look at a snip from one of these videos here. So I want to take a look at you doing a bit of woodworking here right now.
The wood kind of tells you what it wants of you. If you're willing to follow that grain and follow that wood, sometimes, it's scary because you don't know exactly what you're going to get. If I did a pattern and I, did everything in the prescribed way, I could probably bang out a spoon that was, proportional. I like coming up with something that's unique and something that's different. And also, once I slow down and start thinking about who I am and what I'm doing here, and not thinking about those other spoon carvers. And if I'm presenting it right and I'm on putting myself on YouTube, so I have to be as good as them. No. Once I start thinking those things, that I don't have to be as good as them, I don't have to do what they're doing because I'm not them, I start to slow down and I can feel my body relaxing.
I'm speaking with multidisciplinary artist, musician, and now video blogger, Ira Pelletier. We just saw a segment from one of his woodworking videos. What is it about woodworking that got you interested in that craft?
I've been carving sticks with a knife ever since I can remember. My dad always taught my brother and I how to use tools safely. My dad is a really incredible woodworker, and so is my brother. Actually, he built that guitar that I'm playing in the video, and he also built my mandolin. And but for me, I always couldn't figure out how to stick two pieces of wood together. So that was kind of my a flaw in my understanding of woodwork. And then I discovered this way of looking at a piece of wood and taking a chunk of wood and creating, carving away everything that isn't a spoon. And like improvising in music, where you're listening to someone and you're reacting to what they're saying or what they're doing musically. I'm looking at the grain and I'm reacting to what I see in it, and I'm moving my knife around a knot or with a knot to create, something that's unique and has never been created before. No two spoons are the same, and it really makes me feel like I'm creating something new and unique.
Well, I got to say, it's really cool how you've taken this sort of approach and through your new video blog series have applied it to skateboarding, to creating your own bike. So I don't want to delve into the details anymore. I just think people should go and check out these videos. So where can people watch them?
Well, you can look me up on YouTube. My channel is just my name, Ira Pelletier. Should pop right up. Also, I have Instagram, Ira Pelletier Creative. And I also have a Facebook page.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to get back to one more song here. Song called, just got to find the title here, The Strange Case. So quickly here in 2 sentences, what is this song about?
The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I read that book and I was inspired. I finished it, I put the book down, and I picked up a pen and I wrote the song.
Perfect. All right. Ira Pelletier, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Let's have some more music. Thanks for tuning into the show here on Shaw.
Blood drops on the counter. I woke up this morning and wasn't myself. I've been in bad health.
Good day, everyone. My name's Louis Beck. Here in Canada, we've been made well aware of the devastation that has happened to the country of Syria. In previous years, we've seen cities, beautiful cities like Aleppo, Damascus, demolished, devastated by the bombing that's happening there. And the people likewise have suffered greatly. They've left in tens of thousands. Canada has welcomed a number of them to our shores, and Nanaimo, we've been blessed with the presence of a number of Syrian families. And tonight I have with me a representative of the Aldawesh family, Abdu'l-Hamed Aldawesh. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Louis. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yes, thank you. Good to see you again. Yes, I remember you. You came 5 years ago. I was there when you arrived as a 13-year-old boy, and now here you are as a young man. It's been 5 years. How's everything going since the last 5 years since you got here?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been a long time, but it was fun experience. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been to school. You're on the verge of graduating now, and you're looking at a career.
Yeah, so I've been in school and learning English at the beginning, and right now this is my last year in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we first came here, you knew no English. Now your English is quite good. So that's
thank you so much. Thanks.
So Hamid, take me back to your home city of Homs before the war. What was your city like before the war? What was it like living there?
So as you know, as like a lot of other cities around the world, it's so peaceful, it's so lovely city, beautiful. Like it's just a gorgeous city. It's just I have a lot of connection with back home. It's just so beautiful and it's indescribable for me.
And then when the war happened, were you in the middle of that? You would have been 11 or 12. Were you in the middle of all that destruction, that bombing? Did you experience that?
Yeah, so I have experienced that because the war started 2011, and then I left 2013 from my city. So yeah, like about 2.5 years of that terrible experience.
It must have been horrific, and you had younger siblings there, all living through that. How did you?
Yeah, it's just a nightmare. You can't even imagine it anymore.
Has that affected you still today? Does it still impact you, like psychologically?
It definitely does, psychologically and mentally and like physically as well. So it's always a nightmare to think about back home and what happened and the experience that I had there. So
now you walk me through what happened after. I know you moved from different places and finally found yourself in Jordan. You were in a refugee camp for a while, and finally found yourself on a plane to Canada. So just walk me through that whole process.
So after I left my house, we moved a little bit like inside of Syria, a couple cities, and then I moved to Jordan. I had to stay there in a camp, so in like a refugee camp where like they keep all the only Syrian refugees there. And then I moved to the city, but still it's just like you don't feel home, It's not safe. It's just like also it was a bad experience until the moment I was asked to come here.
And how did all that play out? I think you said you had an auntie who was. It was all. You all got in line, right? And they took you in the order that you arrived. But your auntie was kind of at the head of the queue, so that helped you and your family get out sooner than you might otherwise have done so.
Yeah,
right?
So it was like a very short kind of term. So because I was called and then the first call and then we left, like it just took like 15 days in all the process that we had to deal with in Jordan. It was like about 15 days, that's it, and then we just flew. So it was like very quick.
Those refugee camps, like how was it? Very, very big? Were there many people there in those refugee camps when you were at?
100,000. It's just people over each other. It's a very like big space, but not a lot of supplies. So people had a really tough life there, and still.
Okay, so you got on the plane. What was it like? You finally got on the plane. What was the atmosphere on the plane?
Oh yeah, let me tell you, it's just so maybe what it's like the most beautiful and moment in my life that is just like can't describe. Everybody was on the plane. They all were refugees coming to Canada.
Yeah.
And everybody on the plane like enjoyed every second of that long flight.
Now, when you came to Nanaimo, there was a welcoming committee. We got a little movie of when you arrived. We'll run the movie and we'll talk about what that was like, and we'll actually get to see a picture of you as a younger man there. So let's run the movie and we'll talk about while that's running.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a 17-hour flight to Toronto, and then another. It was like 22 hours all the way to Victoria, right?
Yeah, it was because I left from Jordan to Toronto was about 17 hours of flight, and then from there to stayed about 3 days, and then to Vancouver to Victoria, and then to Nanaimo.
Yes, and there was quite a welcoming committee there. So tell me about your experience and your feelings. You saw a lot of people there with signs, with flowers and stuff like that. How was everybody feeling when you saw those people at that welcoming committee?
Yeah, so basically when I arrived here, I was so tired and exhausted. I was sleeping when I woke up at the hotel. At that time when we are like, it's time to leave the bus, I was like in a shock. Like I wasn't expecting that much people, that much Canadians would just like come and welcome us. It's just like it's a touch feeling, you know. It's something so nice that I experienced.
And that young man in blue who gets off the bus, that's you.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, you were about 13 then, eh?
Looks very different, eh?
You've come a long way, I mean, you've come a long way. Yeah. So how's the Syrian community? How's everybody doing in the Syrian community here in Nanaimo? How's everybody making out?
Yeah, it's been actually great. People loving here, and they're working, they're going to schools. They're still learning English, but it's been such a like a journey for them. It's you know, everybody like they start like to engage and have Canadian friends. So yeah, they're doing good.
And what's your future like? What are you seeing down the road for yourself? I mean, you got some plans. What are your plans?
So yeah, for now, this is my last year. So in high school, my plan is being a pilot in the military.
Well, that's great. I mean, listen, I wish we could talk more, but I want to thank you for joining and sharing all your experiences, your family, and the Syrian community here. Awfully glad you made it safe. And I know I speak for all people in Nanaimo. Wish you the success and well-being and progress.
Thank you so much.
Our community. Take care. And thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Thanks.
And as they say in your language, salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Thanks.
Most folks will agree that not everything about the pandemic has been bad. Folks have learned to slow down, pause, take time to smell the flowers. No one knows that better than my guest today, who has seen the success of his Vancouver Island gardening page explode over the last year. Trevor Philbrook, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jane. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you could join us today, Trevor. There's been so much cool stuff happening on the Vancouver Island gardening group site. I wanted to ask you first off, what was your goal when you started the Vancouver Island group Facebook page?
Well, first of all, I should clarify, it is Gardening on Vancouver Island. It's a Facebook group. And when I moved to Vancouver Island, I wanted to create a community similar to one that I was part of on the mainland, and to have an opportunity to share my gardening experience, to learn from a lot of other folks, as well as a chance to meet people with a similar interest in gardening, flower gardening, vegetable gardening, and so forth. And so that's what I did. I started that almost 3 years ago.
Right. Now, I think, Trevor, I joined maybe just a little over a year ago. And I think at the time, I remember getting an email or a message from you saying something like I was member 300 or in that group of 300. And I was like, wow, this is a pretty prolific page. Yesterday, you hit a new milestone. Share with our audience what happened.
Yeah, yesterday we added our 9,000th member. It was pretty impressive, and I'm excited to say that it's continuing to grow at a reasonable pace, and thoroughly enjoying having the group flourish here on the island.
Right. And I mean, that is one of the beauties about this page, right? It is specific to Vancouver Island. So do you have members from all areas of Vancouver Island?
Yes, actually, we have from North Island, Port Hardy, all the way to Victoria, Port Alberni, all the way to Nanaimo, Qualicum. We also accept members from the Gulf Islands, the Sunshine Coast, and even as far north as Haida, Gwaii, we have members from. It's quite a diverse range, and folks find that they're in a similar geographical region and want to be part of sharing and learning from others.
Well, we know during the pandemic that people's interest in gardening has taken off. I mean, all you have to do is try to buy a pack of seeds locally, and you'll know that, people's interest in home gardens, whether it's flower or vegetable gardens, have just exploded. And I think one of the funnest things for me on the site is actually dreaming about what my garden design could look like. There was a series of photographs that we're going to share here with the audience on the befores and the afters of some of the gardens that have sprung up from members on the site since COVID began. Some of them may have, had a few extra years. I'm saying, given the growth, what I'm seeing in the pictures. But, why do you think that people are so interested right now in building a garden?
Well, first of all, since the pandemic began, a lot of people have been taking up just regular hobbies, something to occupy their time, especially at the beginning of lockdown, about a year ago almost. But people also are concerned, with the hoarding of toilet paper and so forth. They're also worried about their food security, finding ways to economize on their grocery bill, and then folks just love the joy that flowers bring them, flowers and houseplants and lovely trees and stuff outside, so that's definitely driven a lot of interest. And it's a great hobby for people.
I also think one of the things that I've just been so thrilled about with this site is the sheer generosity of community. I mean, people's, you've got people who are planting their very first plant, to master gardeners. I mean, do you find that interesting that you get such a blend of people with levels of expertise on this page?
Well, it's part of the culture that we want to foster in our group, is to have an attitude that there really are no dumb questions. So if you're brand new, you can ask a question and get a response from a variety of folks. We have complete neophytes, and we have master horticulturalists in our group, landscapers, and so forth. It's fantastic. We've got the nurseries, we've got all sorts of levels of skill, and very excited about the participation that we've had, the generosity, as you said, of members to share their experience, their photographs, their learning, and it's just fantastic that way.
I think one of the funnest things that I saw happen this year was the seed share. I mean, people are actually mailing each other packages of seed. As you said, the generosity is overwhelming. But I mean, in addition to the incredible before and afters, I think there's a level of education with families. And I know that you had put on a really popular post, and I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that with our audience.
For sure. At the beginning of shortly after spring break, when students did not return back to school and they were stuck at home, I created a post called "Today in Dad, You're the Teacher Now." This is what we did. And I took my kids outside. We planted peas. I told them about inoculant. I told them about the layering of compost and within the soil, and covering the soil with the wood chips and other kinds of mulch, the benefits of that, the reasons for it, for everything from preserving water and using drip irrigation to, we discussed the water cycle, the snowpack, and how things run down the rivers, and there's aquifers that provide water sources for us, and how we need to share that with a lot of neighbors. So there was a great opportunity to expand into things that maybe aren't exactly your typical elementary school academics, and I know they do touch on growing plants at school and gardening and so forth, but it was just my opportunity to say this is what our curriculum is today. And it received a lot of likes, a lot of thumbs ups.
So we've got some great photos that were submitted by the gardening group around vegetables and fruit and what they're all growing in their gardens, and just incredible things that you would not expect to see. I think one of them was, you may have to correct me here, trombosini squash.
Right, that's trombosini. They're a large type zucchini that hangs from large trellising. They're pretty impressive.
And then we've got a tomato on here that just completely blows my mind. I mean, when we're moving away from moving into the whole idea of teaching kids about organic gardening, and not every fruit and vegetable looks perfect, there's a pretty cool tomato on here that that the people on the group shared. What do you think of that one?
Indeed, that photo is showing a lot of cat facing, and it's certainly maybe not the most appealing at first. It might not be bought at the supermarket. It definitely will have lots of nutrition and taste delicious, mind you.
Yeah, and then some beautiful flower photos. We're seeing the range and the incredible photography. Things people are sharing on, I call them garden critters, and we've got a few photos to share as well that have been submitted. I mean, there's so much interest here for every member of the family, and such wonderful ways for our community to grow. Where do you want to see, what do you think the next steps are for the gardening group? And hopefully as we move out of the pandemic, where do you see it going?
Well, I imagine that we're going to continue to see growth, especially hopefully after this program. There also, once we're allowed to travel, I imagine that folks will be opening some of their gardens, and I would love to just set up a social here and a social there, just to meet people. There's a lot of personalities on our group, and I think that a lot of people are becoming familiar with one another, and it would be really neat for those folks to get together, to exchange plants or to exchange seeds or just to say hi. It's part of the community I wanted to build. So.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your wonderful site with us today. It's on the screen. Folks will be able to find you on Facebook and learn more. And thank you for building such an incredible community for us all to enjoy during COVID. I look forward to seeing you and all of our members in the garden.
Thank you so much for having me, Jane. I really appreciate this. It was lovely.
Thank you.
Time now to wrap up this episode of the show on Shaw. We thank you so much for joining us. As we heard there, I cannot wait until the weather gets better so we can get back into gardening. After all, we have mulch to be thankful for. Living here on Vancouver Island, a place where we can put down roots. Soil, I'll raise a toast to some great growing conditions here on the island. Not the best pun I've had there. The garden is a great place to sow truth about nature. That's truth about nature. It's not a place for fertile lies. Fertile lies. Or throwing nightshade for that matter. Now, if you want to raise chickens, I would suggest with planting vegetables first. After all, no farm, no fowl. And I also do recommend raising chickens instead of parrots, because if you do get the parrots mad, then you have a cross-pollination. Cross-pollination. Anyways, my friend Pete Moss says these jokes are low to crop, so it's time to wrap up the show. A huge thank you to all of our guests, Lisa, Joshua, Janice, Ira, Abdu'l-Hamed, and Trevor. A big thank you to our intrepid production team as well, of Todd, Jocelyn, and Staz, the bruiser Bobkoff. If you'd like to volunteer for one of our shows, or have a great Central Vancouver Island story we should talk about here on the show, drop us a line at shawspotlightnanaimo@sjrb.ca. If you'd like more information on this program or to watch some past episodes, check out our page on Facebook and/or our page on YouTube. All right, watching this show means that you're probably kicking it safely back at home. That's what our community needs right now, so thank you for that. Stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you so much for watching the show here on Shaw.